Protection you and your dog will love. NexGuard, the vet's #1 choice.
Good morning, America. Breaking news. A restaurant shooting. Gunmen opening fire at a Waffle House just outside Nashville, Tennessee. At least one person killed, several wounded. The gunman reportedly using an assault-style rifle. The manhunt right now for the shooter.
Trump's Twitter storm, the president railing against James Comey, why he's accusing the fired FBI director of breaking the law. At the same time, Trump defending his personal attorney, Michael Cohen. What's he saying about a report claiming Cohen would turn on him?
Pitchers collapse. White Sox reliever Danny Farquhar suffering an aneurysm in the dugout.
Certainly hope Danny's okay.
Rushed to the hospital. Teammates paying tribute to him overnight.
He's alive, he's got a chance, and that's what I'm hanging on to, and prayers are more necessary than talk.
Dr. Ashton joining us this morning with the warning signs of a brain hemorrhage.
And royal celebration, the big bash for Queen Elizabeth's 92nd birthday. A night of star-studded entertainment and laughs.
Your Majesty, if you do not mind me saying, you are not someone who is easy to buy gifts for.
The royal family honoring the longest-living monarch.
Your Majesty, Mummy.
But which member missed the big event?
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And we do say good morning, America. I'm Paula Ferris. Dan is off this morning. Tom Yamas joining us once again. And we're going to get straight to the breaking news this morning. There has been a deadly shooting at a restaurant 30 minutes outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
A gunman opening fire at a Waffle House in Antioch. Police telling us there was one shooter who fled on foot. At least 4 people were killed with several wounded.
And we are learning that a patron wrestled the gun away from the shooter. Ariel Rushev covering the story. And Ariel, what is the latest?
Good morning to you, Paula and Tom. Good morning to everyone. This is a developing situation. Here's what we know right now. Nashville police are confirming that shooter was wielding an assault-type rifle when he opened fire around 3:30 this morning. Police identifying this man, Travis Reinking, as a person of interest. He's 29 years old and from Morton, Illinois. They say he drove to the Waffle House in a vehicle registered to him. The suspected gunman first opening fire outside that restaurant, killing 2 people, then going inside and continuing firing. Several others were shot. In all, 4 people were killed. Police say a patron managed to wrestle that rifle away from the gunman, but the gunman took off running. At one point, they say he had on a green jacket, which he later took off and is reportedly now nude. There's an active search underway. Authorities say they have reports of a nude man being seen in a wooded area nearby. Vanderbilt Hospital confirming to ABC News they are treating patients. Waffle House telling us, of course, they're deeply saddened by what has happened, and we're continuing to monitor this breaking situation. Many updates coming in still.
I imagine that shooter's still on the run. Ariel, thank you. Yeah. I want to bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett, who is in D.C. right now. Brad, good morning to you. So as Ariel just reported, the gunman was nude when he entered the restaurant. What does this say about his mental state?
Obviously, he has severe mental health issues. I'm going to guess that his delusions perhaps took him to the Waffle House. In other words, something happened there, or something in his head he believed happened there. So he shows up at 3:30 in the morning nude, shoots a number of people, and then flees on foot. So, you know, the Waffle House may well know who he is. Antioch is not that big a community. The idea that the police have maybe already figured out who he is very reasonable.
You know, Brad, the shooting happened at 3:30 this morning in the dead of night. We only have a very vague description, even though you think possibly maybe patrons knew who this guy is. How challenging does that make the manhunt right now?
Well, I mean, you always want daylight is the issue. So the real key with this guy is he's on foot. My guess is he's not far away. He's going to have a history in or around that Waffle House, and clearly in Antioch. And so my guess is the police are probably already on a hunt for him, whether it's at a homeless shelter, whether it's at a residence, etc.
All right, we hope so. Brad Garrett for us this morning, and of course we'll stay on top of this developing story throughout the broadcast. We do want to turn now to politics. President Trump is taking swipes at his critics this morning, taking to Twitter to lash out at his former FBI director.
As well as attacking suggestions that his personal attorney would, quote, flip on him. Tara Palmieri covering it all for us from West Palm Beach this morning. Tara, good morning to you.
That's right, Tom and Paula. Here in Palm Beach, Florida, President Trump spent half of the day at the golf course and the other part taking swings at his political enemies like James Comey. Overnight, President Trump raging about those Comey memos that reveal his private conversations in the Oval Office, tweeting, "James Comey's memos are classified. I did not declassify them. They belong to our government. Therefore, he broke the law." This as the Inspector General investigates whether the fired FBI director leaked classified documents when he gave the memos to a friend who passed them on to the New York Times. The White House Deputy Press Secretary telling ABC News that information never should have been made public.
He didn't just leak it. He set up an intricate, elaborate scheme with which he could take those documents, get them to the New York Times, and put out classified information.
But Comey disagrees, saying the memos were not classified.
I understood this to be my recollection recorded of my conversation with the president. As a private citizen, I felt free to share that. I thought it very important to get it out.
At the same time he goes after Comey, Trump's also defending his personal attorney and fixer Michael Cohen, lashing out over a report claiming that Cohen would turn on him, accusing the New York Times and the reporter on the story of, quote, going out of their way to destroy Michael Cohen and his relationship with me in the hope that he will flip. Cohen has long professed undying loyalty to Trump.
I'll do anything to protect Mr. Trump.
But now he faces a criminal investigation. The FBI raided his home, office, and hotel this month, reportedly seizing files related to the $130,000 payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. President Trump and Cohen have stayed in touch since the raid, but the New York Times quotes Trump's longtime political advisor, Roger Stone, saying that Trump treats Cohen, quote, like garbage. Some saying this could motivate Cohen to cooperate with investigators. Tom, Paula?
A lot to unpack here, Tara. Thank you so much. We want to turn now to George Stephanopoulos, who joins us with a look at what's ahead on this week. So let's begin with this New York Times reporting of Michael Cohen, Trump's personal lawyer, possibly flipping, and then Trump going after that report on Twitter. And he says, quote, he doesn't see Michael Cohen doing that.
Call him a fine person.
Yeah, what's the strategy here?
Well, what's happening, this is a very, very, very serious development. What do we know? We know that Michael Cohen faces some serious legal issues. His office, his home, his hotel room where he's currently staying, all raided by the FBI. The last time that happened was to Paul Manafort. He faced an indictment. We also know that the lawyer he was working with on the Stormy Daniels case, who was representing Stormy Daniels at the time, has now flipped and is cooperating with prosecutors. And in fact, the judge in that case said it's very possible, if not likely, that Michael Cohen is going to face indictment. So if Michael Cohen is going to face indictment, face the prospect of years in prison, that's what's got President Trump so nervous right now, because he is a longtime loyal friend and lawyer to the president. If he starts to cooperate with prosecutors, that could put President Trump in danger.
George, there was another political headline overnight we want to get your take on. Mitt Romney trying to get the nomination for the Senate there as a Republican. And he lost. There were some local issues. He didn't get the nomination outright. He's going to have to go to a primary.
Yeah, the local issue is that they say that he didn't raise his family in Utah.
Right.
That's what they want.
He doesn't live there, yeah.
But this is someone who the president did endorse, even though he's had a very strange relationship with Mitt Romney. What does this tell you going into the midterms? Are establishment Republicans still very much in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fascinating thing. What you have is, no love lost between the president and Mitt Romney. We know that, as you pointed out, the president believes Mitt Romney has the best chance of holding the seat. So he endorsed him. But President Trump still has a strong hold on the reddest of red voters. And the fact that Mitt Romney has often been a critic, I think, is hurting him there. Plus the fact that he has some ties to Utah, but did not grow up, did not raise his family there. My guess is he's still likely to get the nomination and likely to be the next senator from Utah, but it's no guarantee.
They're going to make it really difficult for him. George, thank you. A lot of political storylines for George to dig into. The president's legal woes and the new DNC lawsuit against the Trump campaign. That's later on this week when George goes one-on-one with DNC chair Tom Perez.
Plus, I'll talk to Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chair Senator Bob Corker on that North Korea nuclear test freeze and what it means for talks with Kim Jong-un.
And we do want to move now to the nation, saying goodbye to Barbara Bush, wife to one president for 73 years and mother to another president.
Friends and family came together to remember the woman known for being kind and caring and straightforward, and so many talking about that moment yesterday that brought George H.W. Bush to tears. ABC's Amy Robach was at the funeral in Houston.
It was a celebration of life for one of the most beloved first ladies and matriarch of a political dynasty.
Barbara Bush was the first lady of the greatest generation.
Her husband and former President George H.W. Bush visibly emotional as he entered the nation's largest Episcopal church in his wheelchair, his daughter consoling him, rubbing his back throughout the ceremony.
She was beautiful till the day she died.
Her son, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, delivering the eulogy, sharing the 73-year-long love story of Barbara and George, the longest marriage in presidential history.
From New Haven to Odessa to Ventura to Bakersfield to Compton to Midland to Houston to D.C., their love was a constant in our lives.
Revealing what he thinks his mom would be telling him at that exact moment.
Jeb, keep it short, and most of all, don't get weepy.
The private funeral packed with her family and dignitaries, including former presidents and first ladies. Also on the pew, current First Lady Melania Trump, side by side with former President Obama. President Trump did not attend, but he tweeted right before the ceremony, heading to the Southern White House to watch the funeral service of Barbara Bush.
What you saw was what you got. What was in here came out here.
After the ceremony, her son George W. Bush wheeling his dad out of the church. While he shook hands with the mourners, her grandsons carrying out her silver casket. George H.W. Bush watching from afar, heartbroken.
The last time I was with her, I asked her about dying. Was she ready to go? She said, Jeb, I don't want to leave your dad, but I know I'll be in a beautiful place.
Amy Robach, ABC News, Houston.
An incredibly emotional ceremony. We thank Amy for that report. We do want to turn now to horrifying moments at a Major League Baseball game. A player leaving the game hospitalized, now in critical condition this morning.
It happened during the game in the dugout. Chicago White Sox pitcher Danny Farquhar collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital after suffering a brain hemorrhage. Just moments after throwing 15 pitches against the Houston Astros Friday night, White Sox pitcher Danny Farquhar suddenly collapsing in the dugout from a brain aneurysm.
Something did happen with Danny Farquhar. I don't know anything more than that, but they did take him away.
Paramedics and members of his team are seen rushing to his aid, quickly carrying the 31-year-old out and rushing him to the hospital.
Just mentioned the big league game, and a couple minutes later, he's laying on the ground.
ABC News learning that Farquhar underwent several surgeries and is currently stable but in critical condition.
When he left here, he had a strong heartbeat and a good pulse, and he was breathing well, and the EMTs came in and made sure that they gave him oxygen.
Overnight, Farquhar's teammates paying tribute to him by inscribing his initials and number on their hats and hanging his jersey from the dugout. All while tweets poured in from other teams, sending their well wishes to the father of three.
He's alive, he's got a chance, and that's what I'm hanging on to, and prayers are more necessary than talk.
And our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Jen Ashton, joins us from Massachusetts. Jen, good morning. I spoke to the White Sox. They tell me that he was exhibiting no signs prior to the aneurysm. He had just pitched the previous inning, but there are typically warning signs that people should look for, right?
Well, right. And when you talk about the brain, we have to remember it is exquisitely sensitive to injury, and the skull is unforgiving to swelling, and rupture of an aneurysm, which is basically a ballooning of a blood vessel, causes swelling of the brain. Most times this happens without any warning, but there are some classic warning signs. The biggest is something we call WHOL. It's the worst headache of your life. Then there are things like nausea, dizziness, stiff neck, sensitivity to light, some double vision and difficulty speaking, although we have to note that obviously someone can have these signs or symptoms and not be having a ruptured aneurysm.
Sure.
And Jen, what do we know about the treatment when this happens?
Well, look, this is a surgical emergency. The patient goes into the emergency room, they get a CAT scan of their brain to find out where the bleeding is, and they go right to the OR to try to stop the bleeding, either with a clip or a coil, and a craniotomy to relieve some of the pressure that's built up. But the next hours and days are critical for anyone dealing with this type of situation.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're keeping a close watch on Danny this morning. Jen, thank you. And I just want to say kudos to the White Sox medical staff. They jumped in right away.
No, he's so lucky that it happened actually at the game.
Exactly.
People around him.
I know. So let's send things over to Ron Claiborne for a look at the other stories that we're covering this morning. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning to you, Paula and Tom. Good morning, Adrian. Good morning, everyone. We're going to begin in Georgia, where police are trying to figure out how a convicted killer disappeared from an Atlanta courtroom just before his verdict was handed down. A manhunt now underway for Verlaine Laguerre, who seemingly walked away from the courthouse during a lunch break. At his trial on Friday, he was out on bond and not in police custody. After he fled, Laguerre and a co-defendant were found guilty of gunning down 19-year-old Matthew Hardiman in 2011. In Cincinnati, new body cam video shows police officers circling a parking lot, but never getting out of their vehicle as they respond to a 911 call from a teenager who was trapped and suffocating inside of his van. As investigators are looking into the officer's response and questioning if more should have been done. 16-year-old Kyle Plush died, pinned by an overturned seat in that vehicle. In New York State, Syracuse University announcing the decision to permanently expel the Theta Tau fraternity. This after a video surfaced showing some fraternity brothers using bigoted slurs about black people, Jews, and Hispanics. Syracuse chancellor saying they are investigating and that could lead to suspensions or even expulsions. And this morning, Hollywood remembering actor Vern Troyer, who died on Saturday. Troyer, who appeared in more than 50 movies and on TV shows, is best known for his role as Mini-Me in the Austin Powers movie series. Co-star Mike Myers calling him a beacon of positivity. Troyer was just 49 years of age. The Boston Red Sox, the hottest team in baseball, were stopped cold in Oakland, California, Saturday as the A's left-hander Sean Manaea threw a no-hitter to beat the Sox and end their 8-game winning streak. Manaea struck out 10 batters, walked just 2 as he tossed the first no-hitter of the season, the first by an A's pitcher, by the way, since 2010. Final score, A's 3, Boston zip, only the 3rd loss of the season for the Red Sox in their first 20 games, off to a hot start.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Then finally, a familiar face was named fan of the game. It's Saturday's NHL Game 5 of the Eastern Conference playoff match. 6-year-old Keelan Moxley back in the stands as a guest of the Washington Capitals. The die-hard Capitals fan became an internet sensation after a video of forward Brett Connolly repeatedly trying to toss her a puck before Game 2 went viral. The Capitals, look at her, happy there. They defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets. Final score 4-3 in OT. Back to you guys.
Aw, got to start them young.
Yeah.
Got to start them young. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So should we send things over to Sam? Because I think he might have some positive news. Only if you have good things to say this morning, Sam.
Otherwise, Sam, no.
Otherwise, no bueno.
Okay. We'll be right back with more. No, we've got plenty of good stuff to talk about. Good Sunday morning, everybody. We're going to talk about this big rainmaker that moves from the west into the middle of the country into the deep south. We'll talk about what it did. It was very good news for some areas of the west. Remember, we had 8 states with about very high drought. About half of them got this rain, knocked down some of those western fires. So places like Oklahoma City pick up, well, they were about 4.5 inches of rain below normal, pick up about 1.5 inches of rain. So that was all good. Now it moves into the part of the country that doesn't need it. We're talking about Atlanta during the day, probably by Sunday at 7 p.m. Atlanta could have 3-4 inches of rain out of this. That's a big rainmaker. Then we push it a little bit more to the east by Monday into 7 p.m. You'll notice we're looking at South Carolina with some very big rain. Thunderstorms involved in this, some small hail involved in this. We've already seen it. That's the weather around the nation. Here's what you can expect this morning.
Good morning, Washington. A beautiful Sunday. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover today, but still overall mild. Temperatures, they'll reach the mid-60s later this afternoon. We'll have dry conditions today, but that will change this week. We'll have a good chance of rain getting in here by the middle of the week. For the start of the week, though, looks pretty good. Monday, highs in the upper 60s, may approach the 70-degree mark in a few spots. Best chance of rain Tuesday, Wednesday. May see 1 to 2 inches of rain. Chances continue Thursday and Friday before coming to a close for the weekend.
Come back, coast-to-coast temperatures will be very spring-like.
Yes,
We like
that's
that.
what we like to hear.
Oh my goodness, 'tis the season.
Look how happy everybody is about normal temperatures.
Yes,
I know.
Thank you, because they're always blaming you for bad weather.
I agree,
Thank him
Ron.
for the good weather.
We are thanking him.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Thank you,
time.
Sam.
It is
right,
past due for us to have some
Yeah,
really
you're
warm spring
overdue.
weather.
You're late. You're late with it.
Isn't it prom weather?
It is prom weather. Besides spring showers, we also have prom season, and we have another inspiring promposal for you. It's all about looking like $1 million and asking the right person to go with you, right? One young man brought his mom to the dance because she never went to a prom of her own.
Oh.
It was the ultimate promposal, and one that made this Philadelphia high school senior and his mom Instagram famous.
Everybody was so amazed. They was like, "That's your mom?" And I said, "Yes."
It started with Nasir Al-Farouk wanting to show appreciation to his mother, Fatima Farouk, for all the sacrifices she made for him. Fatima gave birth to Nasir when she was still in high school and skipped her big dance.
I was 6 months old. She didn't want to go to the prom because all the money she had to buy her first apartment to take care of me.
So he asked Mom to come to his prom.
It made me feel good as a mom that I raised such an amazing son that would actually think about me